Can you force the it factor? Can you make it something that you have even if you're not quote unquote born with it or that you haven't been used to having? Can you adjust to that? Can you quantify it? Can you create it? If you don't get some version of this it factor, then your content won't resonate. If your content doesn't resonate, then nobody sees your stuff and it doesn't go viral or out into the world. And you're just stuck in posting limbo. You keep posting and you get the same however many views, and it's just frustrating because you haven't changed the one thing that you need to change. Yeah. Okay, we are trying to get the vlog done before it gets dark. Can we do it? Because if we don't, then we don't have content. And you know what happens if we don't have content? Well, if you don't, watch the previous video. Yeah, we'll just go for a little walk here. People are walking. We're in the park, kind of. And there's gonna be a market here. So, like I showed you, a market. This will be going for 7 days. In the meantime, let's see how this does in the dark. Too dark. The vendors, people trying to make some money. Maybe I'll come down here when it opens. So we're gonna talk about feeling comfortable on camera and vlogging in public. This is very not easy to do, actually. Still, especially here. Just trying to walk in a circle, not get hit by motorcycles. Maybe the other way is better. Just walk back. This is about being comfortable on camera because I just wrote an entire email about having the it factor. I'd gone to school with somebody who ended up being very famous, and if I mentioned their name, you would know who they were. But back then, we knew that she had the it factor, but something that wasn't really talked about was like how she had been performing basically her whole life, even before she was in high school. So what seemed like something she was born with was probably something she had just been practicing since she was younger. And it always helps to have that validation that like, oh, you're so good, but she knew she was that good. You know, it is starting to get dark, but hopefully there's enough light here and you can see me all right. By the way, if you're curious, I vlog on the Osmo Pocket 3 because of the just sheer convenience of this. Like, I don't have to even use my phone, which your phone is obviously very convenient, but like, you can literally just push record on this thing and just go. And like, you don't have to worry about anything else. But let's go back to the it factor. Basically, she had been performing since she can probably remember, right? So she just has it in her that she's made to perform, like made to be on stage. Because something happens if you're a performer, when you get on stage, you get extra energy. Probably most people get nervous, anxious about being on stage or performing. For me, back in the day, I actually enjoyed being on stage. And so what I'm in the process of doing is transferring that same emotion of being on stage and performing and trying to put on a show, but in a way that's authentic, in a way that still resonates, but that extra bit of vibe that you do, that little bit of, I don't know if it's showmanship or if it's just trying to do the best, like have the best performance. Something about that just resonates with people on stage. You get that feedback loop going. You get it going. If you make somebody smile, you make somebody's day, you know, you can bring that into the real world. There's the Shakespeare quote, all the world is a stage and we're all actors, or we're all actors and all the world is a stage, whatever it is. And I think there's like a lot more truth to that than we realized. But what they didn't tell you, what Shakespeare didn't write was, oh, by the way, you can maybe rewrite the script altogether or at least edit the one that you have. But for now, I did want to just talk about bringing that performance aspect to just your everyday life so that it makes it easier. You just want to bring your best self to everybody so that when you are in public and you're making videos, when you see somebody or somebody gives you a look, like you give them that knowing look, like you were on stage, like you were doing the show, that kind of. It's the same with vlogging, it's the same with interacting with people in general. I think once you do that, once you've like mastered that little nod to people that you want to entertain them, you want them to be happy, you want them to get some kind of fulfillment or emotional charge from the thing that you're presenting, then that is the it factor. That's the it. That's what everybody's looking for. That's what stars have that you don't. If you don't get some version of this it factor, then your content won't resonate. If your content doesn't resonate, then nobody sees your stuff. And it doesn't go viral or out into the world. And you're just stuck in posting limbo. You keep posting and you get the same however many views, and it's just frustrating because you haven't changed the one thing that you need to change. And it has nothing to do with your equipment, it has nothing to do with where you're at, what you're doing. It only has to do with what you're being and how you're presenting. Because anybody can chat GPT a script. Anybody can, record their own life. Anybody can do any of these things. So what is the difference between the people that grow, the people that resonate with other people, and the people that are in limbo? If you know anybody that has the it factor, or if you feel like you have the it factor, or you feel like I've just totally missed the mark, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think the it factor really is. Have you ever known somebody that it doesn't seem like they have to do anything, but people want their attention. They want to be around them. They want to talk to them. They want them to go on trips with them. They want to hang out. Do you want to be one of those people, or do you not like those people? Because I have a feeling if you don't like those people, then on some level you're jealous, and then also on some level you're preventing yourself from ever having that it factor. So the trick is obviously to, first thing, stop being jealous. Stop being upset that other people are liked, because that doesn't make you very likable. If you know somebody and they're trashing someone else, yeah, maybe in the moment you have a little emotional, camaraderie type of moment, but in the long run, when somebody else is complaining about someone else, it just makes them look bad. This guy's gonna follow me the whole way. We'll see. Probably. Okay. Yeah. So you're complaining about somebody else. You might have that moment, like I said, of camaraderie, but it just makes them ultimately look bad. So if you're complaining about somebody else, just keep in mind that it also makes you look bad. So if you have real constructive criticism or real feedback that you'd like to give them, make sure you deliver that with maybe some sort of level of empathy, because when I have to give feedback on the worst case scenario, they can come across as really rough or really harsh. Sometimes that's just my personality being harsh, but that's why I always lead into it first with some kind of qualifying frame so that people don't take it so personally, because it is, in the end, just my opinion. And it has nothing to do with them or their skills or their talent, even if it is, in my opinion, not great. It's all kind of relative. But there is a certain quality that we're used to, right? We're used to a certain quality in films. We're used to a certain quality of production in music. The Taylor Swifts, the Post Malones, the this, the that. So, we're used to that quality. So I'm still not used to exactly vlogging in public. I'm trying to do what I say. I'm trying to give people an eye of appreciation, an eye of that moment of, hey, everything's cool, kind of thing. It's very tricky, especially when you're in a different country. So let's get back to the criticism. But yeah, so when I'm criticizing, I use the frame of letting them know, hey, we're coming at this from we're used to hearing Taylor Swift, we're used to hearing Post Malone, we're used to hearing Adele, and then we're gonna play your music. And even if it is above average, even if it's better than most people that play music, it's probably still not good compared to those, because those artists have put in the work, they put in the time, they have an entire team behind them, and your music doesn't sound as good. It makes it hard for people to even just on a subconscious level be like, oh, okay, that's good too. Your music really is being compared to that. And so if you're wondering why your music isn't going out, why it's not spreading, it's because just relative to the best or what people are used to listening to, it's just not good, right? And then also there's that whole mindset thing, the whole inner shift, the whole it factor that we're talking about. Do they even have that? Do you have that? So to me, I'm just starting to embrace this. Okay, can I have the it factor? Can I tweak it? Can you force the it factor? Can you make it something that you have, even if you're not quote unquote born with it, or that you haven't been used to having? Can you adjust to that? Can you quantify it? Can you create it? I wanted to give a small example that I wrote in the email, which is about my Thai grandma. She does not speak English. So usually when I walk by and see her, I don't really talk to her because, I can't. And so if she wanted me to sit or eat with her, then I normally would just go ahead and go on by because it's just kind of uncomfortable and whatnot. But this time, I walked through after I'd already decided to start doing. I was walking in and she was like, here, just put her hand out. And I was like, okay. She put her hand out toward the chair. I was like, all right. And so I sat down in the chair and I just instinctually reached my hand out to her and she put her hand out and I just held her hand. And I just felt that energy change, that energy shift. I appreciate you, you appreciate me, like it's gonna be okay kind of thing. Some extra life came into her and like just some relaxation in her shoulders that was previously not there. So it can even work if you're not speaking, if you don't have the right words to say, you can still practice this. The it factor can just be a look, a nod, something like that. It could be a simple touch. It can be words that you would say if you were being your best self. That's what I like to think of it as. Like you're still performing, but you're performing in a way for the benefit of the other person so that you can see a reflection of yourself in them. The emotion you want to bring comes back to you and it becomes this feedback loop. And I'll talk about that more and I'm gonna go crazy into this in the next podcast episode. So if you're curious, by the way, I don't know if you've made it this far, but I'm Jakey Wakey, author of the book, Something Is Not Wrong With You. You can download free chapters of that. There'll be a link in the description. Also, I have a podcast called Being a Creator. Go check out the podcast, Being a Creator. So if you're curious about how to be more authentic and real and not too real, watch this video.